Oh, we are one love. Hear the call. Together we rise. Let compassion enthrone. In the morning light, the sun breaks free. A new day dawns. It's a sight to see. With hearts wide open, we stand as one, living in our truth, like the stars in the sun. From the mountains high to the valley low, we're spreading our wings, letting our spirits flow. In every soul, there's a spark divine, raising up the world. We're truly alive. Oh, we are one love. United we stand, bringing peace to the world. Hand in hand, waking up to nature, releasing all fears, sharing hope and compassion through the laughter and tears.
Good morning, friends. Welcome to our devotional time together, our Sunday morning connection. As always, of course, it is an honor to be with you once again. I hope everybody has had a good Thanksgiving week. I know for some, including me, that there, was a missing person at the table, missing chair, missing persons. In fact, this time of year would be the time of year that Bishop Pearson would be making his sweet potato pies, would have put on a big spread, and there would have just been the joy of all of that. And even watching him online do that a couple of years ago and being able to have that in an archive is fantastic. And then my uncle Henry also departing just recently. So it's been an interesting thing to experience this feeling. It's something that I have not experienced before in the past. I have lost loved ones. I say that, I use that terminology. The truth is that ultimately we're all eternal beings having a human and temporary experience, a temporary human experience. But the feeling of that space, not having that person there, has never been more real to me than it has been the last couple of years. And so I know the feeling. And then at the same time, we've celebrated, as I mentioned last week, the first birthday of our granddaughter, Goldie, and the beauty of understanding the ebb and flow of life. It's just great. I had a wonderful chance a couple of days ago on Friday to sit down and have a long, extended meal with my brother, my eldest brother, who lives on the Jersey Shore and he lives up north, and he and his girlfriend, his partner, and their little pup, Chewy, were down here in this area. His girlfriend actually grew up in Brandon, Bradenton area, and so they were down visiting family. They'd had a loss in their family. And so I had a chance to reconnect with him and reconcile. I say reconcile, we weren't separated in the sense of being angry. We just didn't grow up together. There are different dynamics and reasons for that. But it was beautiful to spend time with him and to really have an opportunity to get to know each other really a little more. And I feel that that is a relationship that is rekindling and regenerating. And it felt good. So hopefully some of you have experienced some of that. Others of you may have experienced more pain, a feeling of disconnection with relatives, with biological family. It's a very interesting space that we're in our world. And I want to encourage you to do the best that you can with what you have, to be at peace with all people. Even St. Paul of the Christian Bible said that when you can, be at peace with everyone. And notice the when you can, because that can be a tall order. But that's what I wanted to lead to today, because we are through with the Thanksgiving holiday, now moving headlong into the Christmas holiday. And as you can see behind me, Christmas tree with lights and with ornaments and the stockings on the wall. And we are right in the midst of it. Now, we've had this tree up for a while. Most of you know that. But I was noticing something as I was driving back from having a meal with my brother. I was noticing so many cars on the bridge there in Tampa that had Christmas trees on top of them. And, you know, I grew up without Christmas trees. In my family dynamic, it was very strict religious environment. I believe with all of my heart that my parents did the best that they could with what they had, and that they believed they were doing the right thing. So there wasn't a lot of Christmas tree. There weren't lights. There wasn't tinsel. We didn't experience that growing up. So as I got older, I have had Christmas trees. Ever since I've had my own home, I've done that. At first, in some ways, out of rebellion, but in many other ways because I just enjoy the celebration. But I was seeing all these trees on people's rooftops, and it reminded me of when we were up visiting family in Tennessee. For the first time, Carrie and I experienced a real, honest to goodness, Christmas tree farm out in the rolling hills of Tennessee. And it was a cool experience. She and I love to watch Christmas movies. We love to watch Christmas Vacation. We love the Griswold Christmas tree, the ridiculousness of all of it. And actually, she found one, and I wish I had a picture of it. I may post it up on social media, but she stood beside this huge tree. And she was like, "This is the Scott family Christmas tree." And just imagining throwing that up on top of our car and trying to haul that back, it would not even fit in our house. It was ridiculous. But it's just fun having fun with it. But I'm seeing all these Christmas trees going by me, and the poetic side of me, the person who gets inspiration really from anything. I could get inspiration from a road sign. Began to think about what it would be like to be the tree. And a tree, more specifically, that's rooted in love for these holy days. We call them holidays, but that comes from the term holy days. And so, loved ones, I'm asking you that have come here this morning to take a breath with me. Not a church breath, a real breath, the kind that reminds your nervous system that your soul is driving the car today. So inhale, let it land, and exhale, let it loosen. We are standing, I believe, in what I have come to call the beautiful hallway. It's a little hallway between Thanksgiving and Christmas. You could call it the holly or the holy hallway. It's a lot of H's there. It's where gratitude has settled into our bones, but that Christmas pressure is now being felt. Maybe it's jumped on your back a little bit. It's the last quiet place before Mariah Carey starts defrosting. So we're getting ready for all of the onslaught of Christmas, and much of that has already been occurring. But if in this hallway, if you will visualize this with me, in this hallway between Thanksgiving and Christmas, I believe the Spirit is whispering something really simple. And it whispered it to me as I saw all of these cars with trees on it. The simple thing that it's saying to me is be the tree, not the ornaments, not the tinsel, not that Amazon box that your bank account is begging you not to buy, but be the tree. And the question may come, why? Well, because a tree is the only thing in the room that is not trying to be anything else. The tree is the calm one. It's the rooted one. It's the one that is holding the light, and it's not doing so under duress, and it's not even breaking a sweat to hold the light. And if there's one thing that I think the world needs right now, it's a few more people who are willing to be like the tree. And we've talked about this before. The root system determines the fruit system. We talked about how the scripture talks about us being trees of righteousness planted by the living waters. So a while back, we talked about trees and how the root system determines the fruit system. And that is not just a metaphor. That is life. And that's how our life works. And imagine yourself as a tree. You know, a tree by its fruit, according to Jesus. Jesus said to the disciples, you'll know a tree by its fruit. but you know the fruit by the root. The root system determines the fruit system. If your roots live in fear, your fruit is going to taste like anxiety and worry, stress. If your roots live in resentment, then the fruit is going to be bitter rather than sweet. And if your roots live in the scarcity mentality, then your fruit is going to experience tightness and protectiveness and walls, and probably will be half ripe at best. But if your roots live in gratitude, you'll overflow with generosity, compassion, and love. If your roots live in peace, you're going to carry that atmosphere to people, and they'll be able to feel it even when you walk into the grocery store. If your roots live in love, then even your silence can heal somebody, because it's not as much about our words as it is our vibration. The trees, they never strain to produce fruit. They never apologize for their fruit. They never judge another tree's fruit. They simply stay rooted in what it is they're here to do, their dharma. And the fruit happens. It occurs. That's the evolution. That's how enlightenment works. That the branches, they give the bud gives way to the flower gives way to the fruit, and we recycle that process. So what if we trusted God like that? What if we trusted life like that? What if we trusted our own soul like that? All of us were being grown in the womb. And from the womb to the tomb, the only thing that's more important, or that's the most important in our life, is to wake up and remember who we are. And so many of us we don't remember being formed in our mother's womb, growing a nose, growing ears, growing fingers and toes. And nobody was in there stressed out about the stock market. Nobody was concerned about Democrats or Republicans or Christians or Muslims or Jews or black or white or green or purple or gray or any of the colors and the labels that we've chosen. Nobody was trying to figure out while you were in the womb how to make sure that you grew your nose correctly. There was a force, a source, an energy, a creative force that was doing all of this for you. And so what if we trusted our own soul to that force? To me, being like a Christmas tree for the holy days is doing that. So let's talk about what it means to become a Christmas tree this season. I'm not telling you to go stand in a living room and hold up there until someone comes and hangs candy canes on you. That's not what I'm saying. Though I don't know, honestly, maybe some of us could enjoy that break. But I'm talking about something deeper. I'm talking about something more powerful. I'm talking about something even more sweet. I'm talking about your spiritual posture, your inner stance, your energetic frequency during these holidays and these holy days. So let's walk through it just a little bit. Number one, as I was thinking about Christmas trees, the Christmas tree, it stands where it's planted. A Christmas tree, they stand where they are planted. And if you watch a Christmas tree, real or artificial, it does not hustle. It's not getting involved with the hustle and the bustle. It does not try to impress. It does not try to compare itself to the tree down the street whose owner got carried away on Pinterest. The tree is not feeling a sense of anxiety. The tree stays put it stands tall right where it is. It lets itself be seen, not for attention, but to offer something of beauty. And even if it's a Charlie Brown tree, it still is not self-conscious and worried about the way it looks versus how the Griswold's tree looks. Loved ones, what if your power this season is not what you do, but how you stand, how you present who you are, and how you presence who you are. How grounded, how rooted, how unbothered by the chaos swirling around you are. Look at a tree and see how bothered it is. Every one of us is somewhere for a reason right now. Spirit, Source planted you where you are to be a presence, a reminder of true peace. You don't need to be anywhere else. You don't need to become anything or anyone else. Stand where you are planted and let your presence be your ministry. And the second thing that I noticed about Christmas trees is that they hold lights. A Christmas tree never creates light. It carries light. So we're not here to try to create light. We're here as carriers of the light. We are light beings and light bearers. That's your only job this season. What if all you need to do this season is carry the light? To carry the light in a world that's running on low batteries, low energy. Every little light on a tree symbolizes something divine. And the light that's hanging in your life is hope, it's kindness, it's patience, it's joy, it's compassion. It's a smile that interrupts somebody's bad day. It is a moment of softness when your ego wanted to snap. A phone call you return even though your introvert battery is sitting on 1%. These are the lights that we can be in this world. You don't manufacture the light. You just make room for the light. The same way that a tree makes room for the light and for the stars. I mean, let me tell you something. People are looking for light right now. People are tired. People are grieving. People are overwhelmed. People are stretched thin. Some people are hanging on by a single ornament hook. They're barely hanging on. And you get to walk into the room wrapped in a light that does not come from you. It comes through you from the divine. You are not responsible for being the source, only for being the holder of the light. I believe this is what Jesus meant when he said, I'm the light of the world, but I'm going away now. You're the light of the world. And he wasn't even talking about being the originator of the light. He was talking about being the conduit through which the light comes through. So you're not the source of the light, but you're a holder of the light. And that source lives within you, dwells within you. The third thing I noticed about Christmas trees is that Christmas trees don't judge the ornaments that they carry. Have you ever noticed how random ornaments are on some trees? They're random on ours. I was going to show you, but it'd be a little awkward to try to move all of this around. But they're random on most Christmas trees. There's the classy glass ball from Home Goods or from Macy's or that heirloom that you have, but it's sitting right next to a macaroni angel that your child made in 2014. There's this expensive ornament that's right next to something that looks like a craft accident, but holds more sentimental value than your first car. And the tree holds every single ornament without complaint and with complete and total non-judgment. Some of the things hanging on in your life right now are beautiful, and maybe some of the things hanging on in your life are raggedy. Some you did not choose, but you ended up with anyway. And some tell the story of your healing, but then there are others that tell the story of your survival. And some are telling the story of who you're becoming in your revival of thrival. I don't think thrival is a word, but I'm going to go with it. But in your revival of thrival, you're telling a story, and those different ornaments that hang onto your life are that. The tree does not judge the ornaments, it just carries them. Loved ones, you're not here to be anything more than human during this season. You're allowed to be human during this season. You don't need to sparkle perfectly based on whose standard. I mean, if grief is hanging on to you, let it hang. If joy is hanging on to you, let it shine. If uncertainty is hanging on to you, let it exist without shame and without guilt. It just is. But you're not defined by what's hanging on you. You're more defined by the root that holds you. And ultimately, you are rooted irrevocably and eternally in divine, eternal consciousness. There's a fourth thing I noticed about Christmas trees, that it lets the gifts gather around it. Now this part right here gets me. People put gifts around the base of their tree because I don't know, it feels like home. They put their gifts around that tree because that tree feels like home. The tree feels safe. The tree gives space to the ritual. The tree gives a sense of belonging. No matter the size of the gift or how well it's wrapped or how not well it's wrapped, when you are rooted in love, people naturally bring their gifts to you, not just wrapped ones. They're real gifts, their vulnerability, their trust, their laughter, their tears, their stories, their honesty. They come and they sit at the base of your presence because something about you feels steady. Something about you feels like home. Something about you feels like a sanctuary. You may not be the gift, but you are the ground that makes gifts possible. Be that. Be the person that people can breathe around. Be the person that people can unravel a little bit around. Be the person who makes the room feel like the holidays, even if there are no decorations. These holy days, you can provide a space of safety and home. Fifth thing that I noticed about Christmas trees was that Christmas trees, real ones, I say real ones, the natural ones, but even the artificial ones do, they drop some needles from the tree. Just grabbing right here. These needles, even some of these drop, and they're very attached. Even the most gorgeous tree is going to drop a few needles. And that's not a failure. That's a part of staying alive. Somebody say, I'm dropping some things because that's a part of staying alive. Can you hear what I'm saying in that? A part of staying alive is dropping some things off. Some of us need to drop a few things before Christmas. Some of us need to let go of some things before Christmas morning rolls around. Drop expectations, drop resentments, drop the idea that you have to manufacture magic for every person in your family. Drop the fantasies that this season will look like a Hallmark movie. Drop the pressure to perform joy and drop the guilt that you keep carrying from past seasons that are long gone. Trees drop what no longer belongs, and so can you. Now, the sixth thing that I noticed about Christmas trees was what they smell like. They smell like something sacred. When we were at this Christmas tree farm, Carrie was able to get a hold of one of those. I don't remember. She names it. She knows the names of all the trees. She was able to get a hold of one of those that really smells like the woods, smells like pine, and just loved the smell. And the smell even came off on her fingers. There's something about that pine smell. Even artificial trees try to imitate it. They have sprays that smell like these Christmas trees. They have these wall plugs, I think is what you call them, wall plugs from like Bath and Body Works that Carrie gets, that smell like these trees. That fragrance says something holy or holiday-ish is happening. And here's what I believe that metaphor is for, at least for me in my life, is that people should get a whiff of your presence and sense something sacred, not religious, not churchy, not super spiritual, just sacred, quietly sacred. The way I imagine peace smells when it walks into a room. You carry an atmosphere with you. Whether you know it or not, you carry it with you. You carry a fragrance. You don't have to push it. You don't have to preach it. You simply get to be it. And you are it. There's a fragrance to your life. And what kind of fragrance is it? To me, this is the incarnation. This is Christ consciousness. God in a body. Divine nature in a body. Love made visible. Peace with a heartbeat. Joy wearing shoes, whatever kind of shoes you may be wearing. Flip-flops if you're in Florida, probably. Be that tree. This is what I get to do. This is a holy invitation to be the tree that is holding space, the tree that is holding lights, the tree that is holding ornaments without judgment, that tree that is bringing a fragrance of peace into the world. That I get to be that tree planted by the rivers of living water. To me, this is a holy days, holidays invitation. Loved ones, this season, your calling is not to get everything perfect. Your calling is to get really rooted in love, rooted in peace, rooted in gratitude, rooted in that quiet presence that cannot be bought on Black Friday. It's not discounted because it's priceless and it's free by simply being rooted. When you're rooted right, the fruit takes care of itself. It shows up. You don't have to work for it. When you're rooted accurately, the people around you get blessed without you even trying. When you're rooted accurately and powerfully, and we could say right, your life becomes a sanctuary. Your life becomes holy ground. You become a Christmas tree in human form, not decorated from the outside, but illuminated from the inside. So be the tree. Stand boldly and tall where you're planted. Carry the light. Honor the ornaments of your life. Make space for gifts to gather. And don't grasp them. Just make space. Drop what needs to fall. And let your presence smell like peace. I can hear Matthew McConaughey saying right here, all right, all right, all right. Let it be so. And let it begin with us. You know, the peace song from the Unity Movement says, let there be peace on earth and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God as creator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Now there is peace on earth. Yes, this is the moment now. With every breath I take, this is my joyous vow to take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Now there is peace. This is how we sing it. Now there is peace on earth, and it has begun with me. I choose this year to be a really great Christmas tree, holding the light, allowing the gifts, being a fragrance of something sacred, not judging the ornaments of my life, whether they're the kind of ornaments that you feel like you want to show off, or the ones that you just are sentimental, even the ones that are hanging on. And I'm letting go of any of the needles that need to go. I'm choosing this year to be a Christmas tree filled with love, joy, and peace, spreading this holy days cheer to everyone I come in contact with. Friends, thank you so much for being here today. Thank you for flattering me and letting me just rant on about this inspiration that I got driving over the bridge and driving through St. Pete after having a fantastic lunch with my eldest brother. Thank you for being a part of my life. I love you. And may these holy days be the best of holidays that you've ever had. Peace.